What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, this is an example of what I used to have to deal with back in 2014, 15, 16, I'd say, when Demar Derozan was with the Raptors. And you had Licks make these absurd claims back then that DeMar DeRozan is the modern day Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan was playing today, that's how effective Jordan would be. And the reason why Licks loved to make that comparison was because at the time, LeBron James owned the Raptors. He owned DeMar DeRozan. And DeMar DeRozan was known as DeMar DeFrozen because as good as he could be during the regular season, he tended to choke, as was the case with Kyle Lowry in the playoffs. Right? So they love to make this comparison. Then, DeMar DeRozan sort of fell off a little bit when he went to San Antonio. But he comes to Chicago and, he has this resurgence. Recently, I think it was this past season, he cracked the 20,000 point barrier. So, whether or not he'll be a Hall of Famer, honestly, I know people don't look at him like that, but if he plays until he's 40, and he gets 23,000 points, I don't see how you keep him out. Because you're starting to already have too many guys with 20,000 points who aren't in the Hall of Fame. And by that I mean Tom Chambers is the first one. And then you have another guy with 20,000 career points, I think it's Joe Johnson. Then another guy with 20,000 career points and not in the Hall of Fame is Anton Jameson. So then you're going to have DeMar DeRozan. I don't know. All I know is this. If Draymond Green goes to the Hall of Fame, then those guys are going to go in my Hall of Fame just by default. But that's a whole nother topic. So this Michael Jordan thing. First of all, when you compare DeMar DeRozan and Michael Jordan, what do they have in common? Well, they're both great mid-range shooters. Right? They're both great mid-range shooters. They tend to refrain from shooting threes. They can knock them down, but their game is more mid-range orientated. DeRozan has a fall-away jumper in his bag. So does Jordan. Both are or were efficient scorers, especially Jordan. But we'll say DeMar is, especially last few years, has become more efficient. Some years he shot 44, 45%, but lately he's been shooting around 48 to 50%. So he's been more efficient. Both can put on the pile up the points. Both can score 26 to 28 points per game, though Jordan in his prime was more around 30 to 32, 33, 34, 35, 37. But that's what the similarities in. DeMar DeRozan in his youth had athleticism. He did. But not to the level of Michael Jordan. All right? Jordan is arguably a top 5 finisher in the history of the game at around the rim. Not necessarily DeMar DeRozan. Also, Jordan's creativity was on another level as far as finishing around the basket. Not just dunks, but circus shots, reverse layups, things he was doing instinctually, switching to the hands. DeMar DeRozan doesn't have that in his repertoire or in his imaginational skill set. DeMar, from what I could tell, so correct me if I'm wrong, But DeMar DeRozan does not have the post game that Michael Jordan had. All right, the all around post game, the moves, getting on the block. Jordan used to have the one of his basic post moves was backing the guy down, faking the shot, dipping under, reverse the other hand, lay up off the glass. That was one of his moves. Just in general, though, Jordan was a great post player. Strength, quickness. He got in the block and would kill you with his turnaround fadeaway, time and time and time again. Now, the way the game is played today, DeMar DeRozan can't really do that. But I have a suspicion that if he was playing in the 90s, he wouldn't be able to do that anyway. I don't think that's in his repertoire. Jordan was more explosive. I'm just talking about the physical aspects of his game. Jordan was much more explosive, faster, more dangerous in the fast break. These are the offensive differences. Then defensively, they're not even in the same stratosphere. I mean, Jordan is one of the great perimeter defenders ever. And I'm not just talking about steals. I mean, yeah, he was great at that, but just as far as just on-ball defender, passing lanes, pressure defender, help defender. He was just, in his prime, man, he was a GOAT-level defender. When he came back in 95, he wasn't quite as dominant, but he still was one of the great defenders in the league. I say top 15 when he first came back in 96. By 98, top 25. And even as a Wizard, he was probably still one of the better defenders, above average at least. DeMar DeRozan is not in that class. And then this whole thing with DeMar DeRozan that the that the Jordan haters like to put out there is, let me put this out there. Haven't we already had other comparisons that are more suitable? Like Kawhi Leonard, who was a more basic, older version comparison. And you add the defense, you add the strength, when you add how dominant he can be, that's a better comparison. And then the best comparison is Kobe. All right? Like, Kobe was playing in LeBron's era. And the first 10 years of LeBron's career, Kobe was the consensus best player. I don't know what this revisionist shit is where all of a sudden LeBron's the best. You had Colin Cowherd saying back in 2010 Kobe was the best player in the NBA. Now all of a sudden, because he's a paid shrill and do whatever the fuck the company tells him to do, now all of a sudden he's saying LeBron's the best. Yeah, and been the best since 05, which is bullshit. So we already had Kobe. And if we've already been saying that as great as Kobe Bryant was, the one guard that he was second to is Jordan, then how in the fuck do you figure that Michael Jordan would be DeMar DeRozan when Kobe was far better than DeRozan when they played against each other? And that was an older Kobe. What are we getting this madness from? It's stupidity. This is not a knock on DeMar DeRozan. But come on, you watch Michael Jordan play. Even if you're looking at highlights, DeMar DeRozan can't do the things that Michael Jordan could do. Some of the basic things. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan has stretches where he can play dominant basketball. Jordan was doing it for an entire season, for his career, and on both ends of the floor. And then, more importantly than anything else, Michael Jordan was actually raising his level of play when it mattered the most in the postseason and in the later rounds in the finals, where DeMar DeRozan historically has a tendency to freeze. He might give you a 40-point game once in a series, but the other games, he tend to struggle. Jordan might give you one 40-point game in a series, maybe two, but the other games, he's still busting your ass. Even if he's not shooting well. Defensively, he's busting your ass. He gonna do something. If Jordan is struggling from the floor, he gonna give you A1 defense. If he's struggling from the floor, he's gonna be Magic Johnson that night and get 9, 10, 11 assists in a slower pace league. If he's struggling from the field, he's gonna get you 13, 14, 15 rebounds that night. So let's stop with this DeMar DeRozan shit, please. It's ridiculous.